Hello everybody, it's Big Time, your favorite analyst. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win in Pacific Week 3. I think this is a pretty open and shut kind of slam dunk matchup of Full Sense versus Varrel. Like, just looking at the group, Full Sense 2-0, Varrel 0-2, it seems pretty closed. I mean, I think Varrel played pretty close games. You know, they had that Haven map against T1 that was pretty close, and then they had maps against RRQ where you felt like they really should have won it. The big problem I kind of have with them at the moment is the agent comps. When we take a look at their bind, I actually quite like it. It's a little bit different. LP was like popping on the chamber, and I was like, yes, we're hitting that Ascension form. But then in Split, they played this weird comp. Only it was a close game somehow. But I feel like Klaus on the Teo, it just, this whole thing is weird. I don't think this is a team that should ever touch double initiators. I'm going to be hitting Full Sense on the prediction every single day. Full Sense, of course, look great. Primi, Kalua. I'm just never going to bet against those guys. Next one is Paper X Team Secret. Another slam dunk for Paper X. So I think their match against Gen.G, you know, they lost it ultimately, and I think they had a pretty terrible day. I think this game, they kind of know what they did wrong. They just played like idiots. Like, this Haven map was really silly from them. I felt like they were fighting into mid all the time when they really shouldn't have been. I wasn't like blown away by what Gen.G were doing. It wasn't anything crazy. I will say they looked a lot better than week 1, but I don't think this is a series really that Paper X should have lost. And I think something, of course, was at the bottom of the scoreboard the whole day on this Neon. He is figuring it out. But I think he had kind of a similar drop when he first started playing Yoru anyway. So I think, I'm hoping next week, especially it's a softer game against Team Secret the week after, I'm hoping he's popping on this, and then I'll be feeling much more high on this team. But it's not exactly a game I'm going to be worried about against Team Secret. Team Secret had little flashes, little moments. Kelly S is playing well, but outside of that, it's just not a team that I'm able to pick. Now we have probably game of the week material. Keyroom DRX against Global Esports. I can't wait for the fist bump. Frost is probably going to knock him clean out if he goes in for it, which is what we want to see. I think now this is a game where I'm genuinely torn, because if we look at the groups, they're both 2-0 so far up in these groups, sitting right up at the top there. Now I think the key difference is if we look at who Global have had to play, they played a very bad looking Gen.G, and don't get me wrong, they stopped them. And then they played a bad looking Team Secret, and don't get me wrong, they stopped them. I think Global are playing exactly as well as I would expect. I want to see them kind of 2-0 both of those games if they want to look to make playoffs, and especially if they want to make London. I think, of course, their edge is the kind of comps that they're playing. They're bringing out different stuff like this. The bind comp that they played against Gen.G was when they really started to show like, hey, we're okay doing this different stuff. Double initiator with KO Gecko. I really love it when they do stuff like that. And knowing Frost, I think they're going to have a bunch more cooked up. And I think now is the time to really start bringing it out. On the side of DRX, they beat Team Secret. Again, kind of open and short, even if they did have that dodgy fracture map. And then Nongshim was like a big win for this roster, I think. We have to talk a little bit about Young. He started frying kind of out of nowhere on this chamber. He looked really, really good. I think, unfortunately, how strong this team is quite heavily correlated with how well Young is going to do. That's a lot of pressure for a rookie. He had a pretty poor week 1 and a good week 2, but I worry that now he's going to be schemed out of existence by Frost, to be honest. So I think ultimately I've got to go with Global Esports. People, I know I pick Global Esports a lot. People are always going to tell me it's biased, but I do think this roster is legit, and I think I certainly have them making playoffs, and I have them going deep into playoffs for sure. So I think they moved to 3-0, and I think I'm pretty sure that would lock them up for playoffs. So massive, massive game for both of those teams. Then got the Japanese derby of Zeta Division and DFM. Now this is an 0-2 versus an 0-2. Nobody's really popping. I think when we look at DFM, I'm so deeply saddened. It really breaks my heart to watch DFM do this, because nobody's kind of firing it after kickoff, where I think they placed 5th. They've just not really managed to bring that form. May was fine in this game, but ultimately they got rolled. And then even in the second game against T1, just nobody's even lighting up the server in the same way. You even see May right down at the bottom there by rating, and pretty poor in terms of ACS as well. And if May isn't firing on this team, I think they're going to have a very, very strugglesome day. But on the flip side, it is Zeta Division that they have to play. They've had these kind of closer games though. You know, against RRQ, they managed to take a map. They should have won this game. This game was actually crazy from Zeta. They go up 6-0, and then they just can't get the defense together. It looks really ropey. They lose it out. I think that was a big experience problem. Is it good enough to beat DFM? Is the question. I think if I had to say, just on vibes, I think I'm giving this to DFM, and I think that's because a Japanese derby will really make them activate. RRQ against T1, and I think RRQ scare me a little bit right now. I think they very much benefited from the strength of schedule. They had to play Zeta Division, which is a game that they should win, and it was super close. And even this Varrel game, this was another game that they should win, and it gets super close, 13-11, and then an OT, and you're thinking, what is going on in this team? You got, you know, Monya's being hit by Jemkin Saturate. There's Monya's stunning himself. I think this team is looking ropier than we've seen them in the past, but they've done very well to come out with wins. That is by far the main thing. No one cares how well you play in the game if you get the win ultimately, and I think this is a team that has a lot of that resilience, even if some of the rounds are like crazy. On the other side, T1, I think T1 have looked pretty solid, but again, they're also playing against these kind of lower end of the spectrum teams, but I think T1 kind of did it more comfortably. Outside of this Haven map that was close, they looked great after that. And in this second game against DFM, I think I remember T1 looking much more comfortable. T1 have a bunch of experience here, but how does it match up against each other? I think T1 are the favorites in this game, but I'm so dumb. I'm gonna go with RRQ. I feel like RRQ needed those 2 weeks where they were bad, and now they can be good. I think they've had that little bit extra time. I think RRQ's ceiling is higher than T1's ceiling, so now I'm just going to hope that those 2 weeks where they looked a little bit ropey is just time that they needed, and if they bring their kind of top level, they should beat T1. I think that's a dumb prediction, and I think next week I'm going to look at this and I'm going to go, you are an absolute moron, why did you do that? But I'm going to go with RRQ. I think this is an underdog. I think I'll probably be the only one on desk. Maybe a couple of us will go with RRQ. T1 heavy favorites, but I'm back in the underdog. And then finally, Nongshim Red Force versus Gen.G. Gen.G, I spoke a bit about them. Week 1 was horrendous, to be honest. It genuinely upset me watching them play in week 1, where they just got absolutely cooked. It genuinely upset me. I mean, Global played well in that game, but Gen.G played just horrendously. And then they come back, they swap in Ash, and suddenly they beat Paper Rex. Now, I think that was a Paper Rex underperformance, but Gen.G did look much more comfortable. Ash played well. Karen the Phoenix was really cool to see. I think it's a recovery, but is it... I just don't know if it's enough of a recovery to beat Nongshim. Because when we look at Nongshim, this is also a massively underperforming team. I mean, I think coming off the win from Santiago, they didn't have a lot of time, and they had a lot of work to do to adapt to kind of fill in the Yoru gap. 2-1 against Paper Rex, that was a pretty close game overall, and then 2-1 against DRX. I think Francis is on Breach on all of these maps, which is just feels so crazy to me. Breach is not a good agent. I mean, I get that it's a sort of map draft where it can work for it, but I also feel like it's going to get to a point where they're going to pivot away from this Breach because it's just not strong enough. But then if they pivoting this week? If they pivot this week, then I think they lose because Gen.G are picking up steam. I think if they play the Breach that they win this week, I don't know, because Breach sucks. Purely on caliber of player, I'm gonna give it to Nongshim, but I'm kind of mad at myself about that as well. Gen.G are coming in with a lot more momentum. They just beat Paper Rex. All of a sudden, things are going to start clicking for them. Nongshim have a certain quality of player. Neither of these teams are at their best, which I don't think they are. Nongshim take it, but that's also a coin flip. I'm actually really happy with this week of games because we have some giga bangers. DRX Global is going to be a giga banger. RRQ T1 and Nongshim Gen.G are all massive games. If Nongshim lose this, are they just like out for playoffs? That seems crazy to say. So I also think they're going to have to fight back a little bit more than Gen.G because Gen.G already got that win. So I'm going to try and do these kind of videos a little bit more regular. I think it's always fun to try and give a little bit of insight from what I know about these teams and who I think can win. Let me know down below if you think I'm wrong. I'm sure a lot of you will think that, but you're entitled to your own bad opinions. And yeah, I'll see you on the desk this Friday for Pacific Week 3. And thanks for watching.